Well, after a lot of thought and prayer, much peace came over me when I decided I need to end or surrender this marriage. But the abuse continued. He started threatening, draining the bank accounts, hiding all our funds, telling lies to all members of the family, and using the court system to intimidate me. At this point, I still didn't see myself in an abusive relationship. It wasn't until I contacted the Denise house. I was trying to get help for my son, who had disclosed that his dad had been abusing him. And she took a look at me and said, well, let's talk about you first. I said, no, I'm fine. My son disclosed that his dad abused him. I didn't have any idea about it, so I'd like to get him some help. And she said, no, let's talk about you. So she took out this checklist, and it was an abused behavior checklist. And I found myself checking off almost every point on how you know you're in an abusive relationship. And as I looked at that cycle of abuse that was sitting on that paper, I saw myself in that cycle. It was a very, very painful reality, but somehow I was really relieved. At times in my journey, it's been quite lonely and scary. At first, I felt my support system slip away. My friends and family did a lot of questioning, a lot of judging. Everyone took the side, well, let's look at both sides of it here. We can't just side with her. And I wasn't even looking for that. But the reality was my abuse was very real, and it was very one-sided. But I really had a hard time articulating my story because I was having a hard time really recognizing it or understanding it myself. I kept thinking, who's going to believe me that this man is actually trying to destroy me? It wasn't until I started contacting agencies that were familiar with domestic violence and connected with other women who surprisingly had similar stories. You know what, though? I really did feel validated for once. It felt so comfortable or so affirming being with other women who really got it. And I just knew my story was being heard. And it really did feel like I was being freed from those chains of silence. I am very grateful to agencies like Catholic Family Services and the Denise House, Durham Regional Police Victim Services, and Luke's Place, who were all very familiar with domestic violence and who gave my children and I much support. But I can tell you the greatest stress I experienced was dealing with lawyers and the legal system. My ex-husband had all the money and hired a really good lawyer to basically drag me through the system and exhaust all my funds, trying to, basically, he just bullied me and intimidated me through the court system. I didn't even think that this could happen, but it is quite a sad reality, actually. He filed false motions against me. Basically, I had documents coming in every other week that were just completely false. And here I was, confronting my lawyer or giving my lawyer all this truth and information. I was basically spread naked before the court, and yet he didn't provide one piece of documentation. And then it wasn't until I contacted Tanya, finally, at Luke's Place, and she just helped me educate me and basically put a stop to the absolute legal nonsense. Well, even though the agencies were of great help, the one person most instrumental in my journey has been this beautiful woman sitting right beside me. At times when I felt too weak to cope, her voice and encouragement became my strength, because she had the courage to share her story and saw the signs of abuse. She understood and believed. She held my hand through each experience. Even now, I continue to call her and ask for advice with dealing with issues with the children, because let me tell you, they are ongoing. She has been my constant voice of hope, and it's just amazing how one person can be that voice of hope.